Hello students, in today's video we are going to continue to learn some of the basic terminology that we are going to use in preparing the accounts of holding companies. Now the next term that we are going to use is cost of acquisition. Now we know that holding company acquires the shares of subsidiary company. So cost of acquisition is the amount of shares that are purchased by holding company in its subsidiary company. So whatever price that a holding company pays for acquiring the shares in subsidiary company, that amount is called as cost of acquisition. Now shares can be acquired at nominal value, or they can be acquired at a premium, or they can also be acquired at discount. Okay, so depending upon at what amount the shares are being acquired by holding company, that amount is usually termed as cost of acquisition. Okay, you have to understand these terms because while solving the problems we are going to make use of all these terms that we are studying. So it is very important for you to understand the meaning of all these terms. Next is pre-acquisition profit. It is also called as capital profit. The profits that are earned by subsidiary company before the date of acquisition of shares by holding company in its subsidiary company. Now pre-acquisition profit, look at the term pre-acquisition profits. So these are the profits which are earned by a subsidiary company before the shares are acquired. Now because these profits are earned before the acquisition of shares by holding company, they are called as capital profits. Okay, there is a bifurcation between these profits. So these will be treated as capital profits. So capital profits are to be shown separately and revenue profits are to be shown separately. So it is very important for us to know what are capital profit. So any profit which is earned by a subsidiary company before acquisition of shares by holding company, so that profit will be called as capital profit. Now similarly post acquisition profit, now this is revenue profit. These are the profits which are earned by subsidiary company after the date of acquisition of shares by holding company in its subsidiary company. So these are the profits which are earned by a subsidiary company after acquisition of shares by holding company. So remember, the date of acquisition of shares is very important while we are solving the problems of holding company, because this date of acquisition helps us to bifurcate what are the profits which are capital profits and what are revenue profits. Now how to decide what are capital profits and what are revenue profits? Now you have to see the date of acquisition for that. If the profits are earned before the date of acquisition, then they will be called as capital profit. But if the profits are earned after the date of acquisition, they are called as revenue profits. You know that we have different treatments for capital and revenue profits. Capital profits are shown in the balance sheet, whereas revenue profits are shown in profit and loss account. So for this reason we have to properly understand what is capital profit and what is revenue profit. So what is the important factor which help us to determine? That is the date of acquisition. Okay, I hope these terms are clear. Moving on to next term, that is pre-acquisition loss or capital loss. It is a loss occurred to subsidiary before the date of acquisition of shares by holding company in its subsidiary company. Now again, pre-acquisition loss. Now pre-acquisition, pre means this is a loss which is incurred by the company before acquiring of shares by a holding company. Now since it is before acquiring of shares, it will be considered as capital loss. Okay, and this has to be shown in the balance sheet. It has to be adjusted with profits or reserves. Okay, so pre-acquisition loss is the loss which is earned by a subsidiary company before acquiring of shares by holding company, and it is a capital loss. Next is post acquisition loss or revenue loss. It is the loss occurred to subsidiary company after the date of acquisition of shares by holding company in its subsidiary company. So revenue loss or post acquisition loss is the loss which the subsidiary company is incurring after the shares are been acquired by holding company. So revenue losses will be shown in profit and loss account, and capital losses will be shown in the balance sheet. Again, the major factor which determines whether it is capital loss or revenue loss is the date of acquisition. If the loss is incurred before the acquisition of shares, then it is capital loss. If it is incurred after acquisition, then it is revenue loss. Okay, so date of acquisition is very important for us. Next is pre-acquisition reserve, that is capital reserves. Again, these are the reserves which are created by subsidiary company before the date of acquisition of shares by holding company in its subsidiary company. Now, these are those reserves which are created by subsidiary company before the shares were acquired by holding company. So they will be called as capital reserves. Again, these will become in the nature of capital because these are the reserves created before acquiring of shares. So they are called as capital reserves. Next is post acquisition reserves or revenue reserves. Now these are the reserves which are created by subsidiary company after the date of acquisition of shares by holding company in its subsidiary company. So when the reserves are created by subsidiary company after acquiring of shares by holding company, then they are in the nature of revenue reserves. Okay, so again, date of acquisition is important. If the reserves are created before acquisition by the holding company, it will be called as capital reserve. If the reserves are created after acquisition, they will be called as revenue reserves. Okay. Next is intercompany eliminations and adjustments. Intercompany elimination means eliminations of amount payable by holding company to its subsidiary or vice versa, including elimination of unrealized profit. Now, there are chances that before acquisition of shares by the holding company, there can be some transactions between holding company and subsidiary company. Okay, so we have to be careful to note this transaction and eliminate them, because when we are preparing group accounts, that is when we are consolidating the financial statements of holding company and a subsidiary company, then it is mandatory for us to see that we don't have double entries. Okay, so for that it is important for us to eliminate any intercompany transactions, any transactions that have occurred between the two companies, that are to be eliminated. Now, some of the intercompany eliminations are debtors and creditors. This is possible if the goods are being sold by holding company to subsidiary company, or it can be subsidiary company selling goods to holding company, vice versa. Both is possible. So while we are preparing consolidated statements, we have to remove intercompany debtors and creditors. Similarly, intercompany loans and advances. So if any loan or advance is given by holding company to subsidiary company, even that should not be shown. Okay, that has to be eliminated. Intercompany debentures. So if the debentures are also purchased by the holding company, so even that has to be eliminated. Okay, and you have to also eliminate unrealized profit. Unrealized profit in the sense, now if a holding company is selling goods to subsidiary company, in that case when the goods are sold, they will be always sold at the selling price, they will not be sold at cost price. Okay, now but while we are preparing the accounts, okay, so in that stock, that profit will not be received by the companies, because now these both companies, when you are preparing group accounts, they are one or more or less same. So we have to eliminate such profits which are included in the stock, that is unrealized profit. Now you will understand this intercompany transactions in a better manner when we are solving problems. As of now, you just understand its meaning. The last term is minority interest. Minority interest is the aggregate amount of share capital, reserves, profits, losses, increase and decrease in the value of fixed asset that belongs to minority shareholders. Now when it comes to preparing the accounts of holding and subsidiary company, now the company whose holding more than 50% of shares or majority of the shares, it is called as holding company, and the remaining shares of that subsidiary company which are held by other shareholders, they are called as minority shareholders. Okay, so we have to divide the share capital, the profits, the reserves of the subsidiary company between holding company and between the remaining shareholders. So holding company will have majority of the share, and the remaining share, whatever remains, that belongs to minority shareholders. So that remaining thing is called as minority interest. Okay, so we are going to solve problems on minority interest, so you will understand this better when we start solving the problems. So we will start solving the problems from next class. I hope these basic terms are clear for you. Just read them again and again, because these are new concepts for you. You will not understand it immediately, it takes time to understand. So just read and try to understand. Okay, with this I conclude for today. Thank you.